You ever hit that 3 p.m. slump and suddenly you're questioning every single decision you've ever made? Like, why did I even agree to go out? And also answer all my emails today. But yep, you've been there too. So let me put you on real quick to Bloom Supplements. As you get to know Fani, you will learn that I love a good supplement. Something to make me feel better and just really help my body feel good about itself when it's feeling like, nena, we are struggling and we need help bad. That's when I'm like, yo, I need a solution. Now, a homegirl introduced me to Bloom, and of course, the branding got me off rip. I'm a sucker for good branding. I'll say it over and over again. The greens, fire. The pre and probiotics got my gut feeling like it's on a yoga retreat. The energy drinks, I love the strawberry watermelon down, especially with a little sparkling water and fresh squeeze of lime. And since we're still getting to know each other, just so you know, I read all of the labels. It doesn't have any weird fillers, no fake nonsense, just plant-based magic that tastes good. And you know that's a blessing because I'm not gonna hold you. Some of these green powders and healthy drinks saben a puro ya tu sabe. But Bloom is that girl, and I love her. So if you're trying to glow up desde adentro pa' afuera, trust me, Bloom's got you. Head to bloomnu.com, BLOOMNU.com, and get you some. Because wellness should feel good and taste good, and Bloom does just that. It's time to lock in. Too long to listen starts now. Yo, what is up, y'all? Get lock it. It's your girl, Fani Dominguez, and welcome to Too Long to Listen, where I do the scrolling, the sampling, the sifting, so you don't have to. I'm a Puerto Rican, born to roam, posted up wherever the vibes take me, and I'm obsessed, like I fall asleep listening to podcasts obsessed, with this world of audio storytelling. So, of course, the first question you might be asking is,
Fani, why did you start this podcast?
Because we need people with taste.
People with taste.
Putting us onto fire dialogues and conversations. There's a lot of podcasts out there. How can we go through all of them and find the ones that we actually like? It's almost impossible. And there's not really a safe for you to listen to without being subjected to an awful opinion directory for podcasts. So here I am to sort through the BS to bring you quality shows to listen to and become a fan of. Fani is now your podcast plug. This is the podcast of all podcasts about podcasts. And this week, we got layers. We've got layers. Comedy, nostalgia, deep friendships, real raw stories about identity and culture. I'm bringing you a lineup that had me really feeling seen, laughing out loud, and sitting in silence with my little teacup like, yo, damn. Coming up on today's episode, we're going to talk about the podcast, But What Do I Know? And being the villain in friendships, growing up Spanglish, and how it really feels to exist in our spaces as diasporicans, and rewatch podcasts like ReLiving Single. But before we tap into all of that, let's talk about a brand that just does it for me. As you may already know, most of us ethnic folks are lactose intolerant. We do not come from cows, so of course, naturally, regular milk is going to cause some issues for us. So when I found out about Ghost Town Oats, I instantly became a fan. Because you mean to tell me that we have an oat milk brand created by Black queer baristas like on some FUBU energy, and its branding is pink? Instant cop, and after the first taste, I was sold for life. So much so that I even invested a little bit of my coins into the brands. It's exactly what I need for my cafecitos, my cereal in the morning, lo que sea, you name it, and I'm gonna make it with Ghost Town Oats. I even used it to make coquito for the holidays for my vegan and lactose intolerant friends because they too deserve to enjoy our Boricua holiday traditions too. Supporting Ghost Town Oats is like putting your money where your values are, and I love that for me too because I really don't have to question if the company I'm supporting aligns with what I'm about as a person. So next time you're at the coffee shop, ask for Ghost Town Oats. And if you need some for the crib, go to ghosttown.world and see how you too could be great with a pink carton of Ghost Town Oats. All right. So let's kick this baby off con mi pensamiento, my thoughts, on things happening in the world. First things first, I don't know about y'all, but I'm missing Love Island USA. Like, I really loved having Nicolandria on my screen, and I'm still upset that Taylor robbed us of more of that. Yes, I am hating on that man. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I loved Alandria from the beginning and was rooting for her till the very end. I would literally get so giddy when her and Nick would have their little moments, but I knew from the beginning I did not like Taylor. Something about him gave me the vibes que como que se estaba aprovechando de ella, like he was taking advantage of her in some type of way. Like he was using her to stay on the show. I don't care what he says. I don't care what anybody says. That's just the vibe that I got. Or maybe production was trying to play us and paint him that way, but it is what it is. I love me some Nicolandria, and we'll be rooting for them from the sidelines. I saw that they were on their first real vacation in Santorini, and again, I got giddy. Like, I love to see women be loved out loud and enjoying the goddess treatment. Like, I love that he holds everything. She don't have to worry about nothing. And I am obsessed with that. Anybody out there in their relationships, if any women in their relationship with their partner is receiving goddess treatment, absolutely, yes, I support you. If you're listening, Nicolandria, know that I hope y'all really make it. Now on to concerned Titi Fani vibes. It's the first week of school coming up soon for a lot of y'all's children. So, of course, I have to do my formal yearly announcement. Do not post your child on the internet with all of their school information in the picture. Private account for family and friends, only people included in this. Please help me help y'all protect y'all's children. It shouldn't be this big of an ask, but I shouldn't know what your child's school teacher is. Honestly, I shouldn't even know what school your child goes to. I don't care how tight we are. Unless we have the relationship where I'm going and picking up your child from school on a regular basis, I don't need to know this information. I'm not an authorized guardian. Why do I know what's going on? Why do I know their favorite snacks? Why do I know all of these intricate details about your child? And if I know them, me with my little good titi heart, imagine with someone with bad intentions getting a hold of that information. So yes, every year, every time these kids go back to school, please believe you will get this announcement from Titi Fani. I'm currently in Puerto Rico, tranquilita. Bad Bunny is in the middle of his residency here. And no, I do not have tickets. I don't think y'all understand how stressed out about that I am. Like, it pains me, but I know I'm not alone, so I'm just going to hope that one of these days I'm able to really be blessed and go to one of his shows. But so far, it hasn't happened for your girl. Send prayers for my peace, because I am not okay. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's get to talking about podcasts, literally why you're here. So you know that warm feeling you get inside when you hear the Living Single theme song? We are living single. Ooh, in a 90s kind of world. I'm glad I got my girls. That show was everything for me. I actually just rewatched it recently, and it was truly one of the best shows on TV that really empowered women, especially Black women. Like, imagine a show so fire that it inspired the creation of the show Friends. Yes, Friends didn't just pop out of nowhere with an idea that fire. It was Living Single. The ReLiving Single podcast, a rewatch show hosted by Kim Coles, who plays Sinclair, and Erika Alexander, who delivered as Maxine. You really get insight to what went on behind the scenes just as much as it went on in front of the camera. Like, they did a full breakdown of the pilot. And honestly, I learned a lot. Like, I didn't know that Queen Latifah, Kim Coles, and Erika Alexander all hated the name at first. Like, they did not like the name Living Single. They actually went to Warner Brothers to fight it, and they told them, thanks for the input, and kept it pushing, and kept the name. They also got into, like, some behind-the-scenes stuff, too, like smoking in dressing rooms, how Khadijah's hats were chosen to fit her braids, how Sinclair's quirky energy was defended as creative brilliance, which it was. Like, that show was truly about friendship, and in a way that not too many sitcoms have truly captured, and that's why it still hits. Like, I'm actually really excited for this podcast. They just launched it not that long ago on Kevin Hart's podcast network, Heartbeat Productions. So I'm excited to see how they bring the production value. Plus, it's Maxine and Sinclair, like two of my favorite characters on the show. I was sold before they even announced it. It was always going to be an automatic listen for me. Episodes are dropped weekly and they're about 45 minutes to an hour, give or take. So it's not going to take up the whole of your day, but it's definitely going to give you a day's worth of entertainment and reminiscing in one episode alone. All right, now let's talk about But What Do I Know, hosted by Chidinma. Based in Toronto, she has such a beautiful podcast that touches on the experience of Black women and creates a safe and loving space for them to share their experiences with each other and allow for others to feel seen. One of my favorite episodes not too long ago was with guest BK Farley, host of the Look at the Material podcast, which I had to dive into also. They did a whole episode about being the villain in a friendship. That one really hit home. I know I am 1000% the villain in someone's story, and that's okay. I've come to peace with that because I truly can't control what someone thinks of me. In their eyes, I may have done something they deemed wrong, and in my eyes, I may feel the same. There are people I once called my bestie for real, like a sister, straight up familia. Like, they are not in my life anymore. But I think as I grow up, I recognize that some people truly are meant to be seasonal, and some people are meant to be forever. And not everyone makes the forever cut. And that's not to say that some friendships don't rekindle. That seldom happens over here. But there are some people that are meant to stay in your life and work through it all with you. BK and Chidinma got into attachment styles: anxious, avoidant, secure. And how sometimes what we think is setting boundaries is actually fear in the episode that I listened to. I personally feel like I could be semi-anxious and semi-avoidant when it comes to attachment styles, but I'm a work in progress, and we're working through a lot of these things. We're not going to turn this episode into a therapy session, although from the sounds of it, maybe I need it. Sometimes being the villain in a friendship just means you spoke up. You stood on business, and the other person really didn't fuck with that. Other times, it's much deeper and more than what's being said out loud. Sometimes we don't see the red flags when it comes to people we love, especially friends. They always need to be right. Them never apologizing for how they made you feel, the way they manipulate folks. If that's the pattern, that's not a mistake. That's a problem. And it's not your responsibility to help heal someone, nor is it your duty to keep making space for it. And that's something that you really have to take into your life intentionally, is what you make space for in your friendships. What I love about this podcast, though, is that it isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking the real questions, sitting with the uncomfortable truths, and growing through self-awareness. For Black girls navigating their emotional worlds while unlearning generational patterns, But What Do I Know feels like a mirror, a journal, and a heart-to-heart all-in-one. Episodes are available bi-weekly and are a little over an hour, but definitely worth the time and sharing space with incredible women. Ahora, mis amores, let's talk about one of my absolute favorite podcasts. And also, I'm super biased as hell because I'm super Boricua when it comes to things. I'm going to support it until you give me a reason not to support it if you're Puerto Rican. So Growing Up Spanglish, hosted by the super amazing Rosalyn, is a podcast that feels like home. As someone that literally grew up in Spanglish, this podcast really makes a lot of us feel seen and show just how much we have in common, yet how different our cultures are. Now in their second season, the show continues to highlight Latinx voices, sharing their stories with us and welcoming us into their world. Like I said, I'm biased. So of course, my favorite episode is with the multidisciplinary artist and creative director, D'ana Nunez, founder of COBO, que significa crafts, onward, versatility, and lifestyle. Imagine a world where your art isn't just paint on a canvas. Es tu historia. It's your heart, even a way to heal broken pieces of yourself. In this episode right here, it felt like I was sitting amongst tias and family, talking about culture, our culture, identity, and how art becomes your loudest voice when the world tries to shut you up. D'ana and Rosalyn, my Puerto Rican mommies for life, talked about the importance of community, the chaos and the heat of growing up Caribbean in the States, They talked about how before D'ana was doing a basketball court design in Orchard Beach, she actually flew to Puerto Rico to soak up the vibes, basically. Like, not on some superficial Pinterest board inspiration, but legit, she sat in cafes, talked to la abuelita, like walked the streets, like in a real respectful immersion, just basically absorb everything she possibly could. And I feel like that's how you honor your people and your culture. And it's not easy to do, though, as a diasporican, like to represent your culture sometimes. There's this constant pressure to come correct, to represent your people, but also not offend anyone. And definitely not come off as not Boricua enough. And believe me, it's a thing, like a real thing. And some of y'all might know of terms like no sabo kids. It's what they call kids raised in the States who mix Spanish and English or maybe don't speak fluent Spanish. And sometimes that term gets weaponized, used to divide instead of unite. As a matter of fact, I think they're even turning it into some sort of slur now. And that's where identity gets kind of complicated. Like, who gets to say you're Puerto Rican enough? Who made certain people gatekeepers? And when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, like, you really have to understand why anyone actually left Puerto Rico. And I promise you, no one leaves Puerto Rico because they want to. It's because they had to. Like, let's be honest about that. We have to understand the hardships of colonialism to understand why the Puerto Rican identity can be fragile at times. So it's conversations like these when it comes to growing up Spanglish that really get me. And I love that for me and the rest of us out there that can deeply relate. Episodes are around an hour and change long, and they drop twice a month with incredible production value. The videos are so good. Like, truly they are. So definitely tap into Growing Up Spanglish. Like, it's a phenomenal podcast. Now for our next trick. I'd like to introduce my segment of the show called Too Long Didn't Listen. TLDL is my final verdict on each of the shows. Like, think Rotten Tomatoes, but for podcasts. We'll decide if the show is an absolute must listen, if you should skip to a certain timestamp, it's too long, and you will not listen, or who even let these folks buy podcast equipment. For today's episode, clearly all 3 shows are absolute must listens. I love them all and figured we wouldn't introduce negativity just yet into the show. Believe me, though, I can be shady as hell, and I plan to be because some of y'all podcasts out there are a hot-ass mess and they need to be banned from the internet. Like that Fresh and Fit podcast, my God, those men are awful. And I can't say the things that I truly want to say, but if natural selection took action, I wouldn't necessarily be sad because they are an absolute waste of oxygen. I already done wasted too much on them. Before we get into our mic drop of the week, I want to talk about another brand that speaks to my spirit. Listen, I do not play when it comes to protecting my hair, okay? Whether I'm rocking fresh curls or a new set of braids, my Saint Cayman eye bonnets is part of my nighttime routine along with the skincares. Once I'm ready for Betty, I pull down the built-in eye mask and tuck in. I've been using their bonnets for at least a year, and let me tell you, these aren't your regular beauty supply bonnets. Baby, the quality, luxury. The fit, secure, but never too tight because you can adjust it. It stays in place even when I'm tossing and turning around in my sleep. But I don't just use it to go to bed. I also use it on the plane too. Baby, I pull out my eye bonnet and pull down the eye mask like I'm sitting in first class, even if I'm really in 22A. So whether you sleep wild, travel often, or just want your hair to stop breaking up with you, head over to stcayman.com and let them know Fani sent you by using code FANIThePlug for little discounts, and your hair will say thank you. So every week, I'm going to highlight some of the funniest, wildest, or realest clips I've heard all week. Last week, Jinx Monsoon went on Z-Way and read J.K. Rowling to smithereens. If you don't know who Jinx Monsoon is, Jinx Monsoon was on RuPaul's Drag Race and has been an incredible talent to watch over the years. Like, genuinely on the right side of things and has this laugh. It's an infectious laugh. I'm obsessed with it. But if you aren't aware, the previously beloved Harry Potter author has been extremely vocal about their disdain and hatred for transgender humans. So much so that they even falsely accuse women of being transgender. So last week, while being interviewed, Ziwe asked if J.K. Rowling would make a good Roxy Hart in Chicago, and immediately alley-ooped the most iconic response. Jinx pointed out that J.K. Rowling abbreviating her name to initials is a practice that women authors do so they could be perceived as men and their books could be successful. Note, women authors do have a harder time than men. Unfortunately, you already know how it goes. Different industry, same problems. Anywho, if you haven't seen it yet, please watch the episode. It's so good. And the reason why these types of conversations and the way that we point things out is just so that we can see how our bias and hypocrisy shows up in other ways. J.K. Rowling definitely could have come out using her own name. Why did she abbreviate her name? Let's be real about the answer. Now, to my listeners, let me know which moments in podcasting or out there in the world you think I should highlight on the show. Because you know I love input from y'all. This is our show, and we're in this together. Now, during this next part of the show, I want to make sure I include you, the listener. I want to hear from you. And answer any questions you may have. A little ask me anything part of the show, if you will. We're also going to do a what would Fani do? Because truly, y'all need to know, what would I do? If it's one thing I'm going to have, it's a thought. So send in your questions so that I could give y'all my truest, heartfelt, WWFT, what would Fani do? Answer. And lastly, it's time for Fani's faves. I love this because as you get to know me, you're going to find out just how much I love certain things and places and people. Today, my fave of the week is Gloomy Bear. Some of you may remember, but in the early 2000s, there was this murderous pink bear cartoon that just went around terrorizing people. I know it sounds crazy in theory, but I was obsessed with Gloomy Bear. Y ahora everybody on their La Boo Boo kick, it just took me back to my Gloomy Bear days, and now I need to find one. So if anyone knows where I can get me a Gloomy Bear, send me details ASAP. All right, fam, we covered a lot today, but I had so much fun. I can't wait to continue bringing you these episodes, having a good time with y'all. Today, I wanted to keep it light. Sometimes we might get serious. Other times we might get a little spooky. This is going to be a good time and your new favorite destination for all things podcast. Please like, comment, share, give us 5 stars on all of the platforms. Leave me some comments and let me know what you think of the episodes. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, not Twitter because I don't have the energy over there anymore. Y'all can have that one. Y'all can keep it. Stream Too Long to Listen on your favorite platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, and anywhere else they give you podcasts. On next week's episode, we're going to be checking out my friends who podcast. Yes, I have a bunch of friends who have their own podcasts. So, of course, if your friends don't speak your name in closed rooms, then they're not your friends. So we are going to open up this room and speak our friends' names into the world. And I am going to share them with y'all next week. And I'm so excited. If something in here moved you, please share this episode, send it to the group chat, hit me up on socials, let me know what you're listening to because at the end of the day, the only way we really learn is by listening. Muchísimas gracias, mi gente. Lo quiero mucho. I appreciate every second you shared with me. Es un honor. And like Walter Mercado, signing off con mucho y mucho amor. Catch y'all next Monday. Bendiciones. Love, Fani.